started out as a spearfishing party, but it didn't end that way. It ended with my flight for dear life and being chased by a man with a scooter and a double-barreled spear gun. He took careful aim, and he pressed the trigger. Luckily for me, the currents were strong, and he missed me by an inch. And there was a cave where I could find refuge. It was a Sunday morning. A party of sports divers had chartered one of Avalon Air Transport's planes for a day's outing. I had taken them out before. They were all very good skin divers and could have managed without me, but Avalon Air Transport had felt it necessary for me to look after them. Our takeoff was delayed. One of our passengers didn't show up. The rest of them were old friends. Queenie Miller, probably the most popular girl in Anaheim before she married DeWitt Miller. That was last month. Our pilot, Dick Talbot, skipper of Avalon Air Transport. Jack Padgett, a sportscaster, and a fine athlete himself. Eddie Mahar, the top salesman of life insurance. Always acts like the man most likely to need it. And Ella Palmer, holder of 2 swimming records. Also designs bathing suits. Fills them pretty well, too.
Mike, what island are we headed for?
About 90 miles out. San Granada.
San Granada?
Is that a restricted area?
Yeah, secret Navy stuff and all that?
We'll be on the lee side. It's the other side of the island that's restricted.
Hey, what's that spear gun? What do you mean?
It seems to me that I had to speak to you about this the last trip.
Oh, it's not cocked.
They never are.
Okay, teacher.
All right, stow it aboard. Point side down. What are we going to do about our missing passenger?
He's a half hour late. Bill Richards. Checked in 2 weeks ago. No cancellation.
Well, you want to wait for him any longer?
Well?
Hey, wait a minute. It wasn't Richards. It was a complete stranger. He looked friendly. Much too friendly.
Mr. Nelson?
Yeah, that's me.
I'm George Peterson.
Mr. Peterson? Dick Talbot.
How do you do? Hi.
All right, George.
Bill Richards couldn't make it, so I'll be using his reservation.
Is that all right with you, Dick?
It's okay with me. Space is paid for.
Good.
Well, I take it you've done some diving before.
Well, enough. You don't have to worry about me.
Yeah, pretty fancy equipment you got there. Triple tank, double-barrel spear gun. You want to be careful with this. I have to check you out on it first.
Well, I've heard about you. How thorough you are. I'm all for it.
Well, I haven't lost a man yet. Come on, let's get aboard.
Oh, wait a minute. It isn't all here yet.
A sea scooter, huh?
Yeah. A friend of mine's making those. I told him I'd test it for him.
Well, that sea scooter of yours and this double-barrel spear gun, you ought to be going after whales.
A nice yellowtail will do, thank you.
See if we can do to arrange it for you. In a few minutes, we were on our way. 5 old diving buddies and a stranger. We were headed for San Granada Island. We found a good spot half a mile offshore. I knew every inch of the bottom. We were above safe skin diving grounds. My first duty was to give our newcomer a thorough checkup, especially with the scooter. He handled himself well and followed my instructions.
Go in a circle. that the fastest it can go?
Yeah. She handled pretty well, but not much speed.
You know, you could get just about the same effect by hitchhiking on a turtle.
Okay, Mr. Peterson, you can use it. At that rate of speed, you'll not have to hurt yourself. Or anyone else for that matter, but I am going to have to ask you to cruise only in reasonable circles and away from the others. With the exception of your own partner, of course.
Thank you.
But don't go very far off now. If anything happens to you, I want to be able to take care of you. You're my responsibility, you know.
That's understood.
All right. Now, let me see. We might as well get paired off here. Queenie and DeWitt. Can't break that up.
You couldn't.
George hasn't been out with us before. Ella, you better go with him, huh? Jack, you buddy up with Eddie.
Well, thanks. I don't deserve it.
Well, that does it. Just remember now, huh? Stick close to your partner. Don't let him out of your sight for a minute. And, don't take any chances. Let's have fun. Get wet, huh?
The underwater picnic was well underway. It was time for me to inspect my charges. Eddie and Jack had cornered a fair-sized sea bass in a cave. Eddie's aim was good. The fighting fish stirred up the bottom. Eddie held on. He had no intention of losing a tasty dinner. I swam on. Queenie and her husband were swimming together hand in hand. This was their underwater honeymoon. They left the fish alone and admired the underwater scenery. They had found the sunken hull of an old lifeboat. But not even the scenery could take their minds off each other for long. Ella and Mr. Peterson were getting along fine. He was taking picture after picture of Ella, who carried on like a high-fashion model underwater, all in good fun. I didn't know then that Mr. Peterson had his camera along for a different purpose. I joined them in their fun, but Peterson didn't seem to appreciate my intrusion. Surfaced, believing that everything was all right below.
How's your gang getting along?
Ah, they're having a ball.
Now Peterson was testing his scooter. Ella was hanging on, enjoying the ride. Suddenly, she sighted a turtle. It was just like Ella to hitch a ride. She was determined to give a race to the scooter, but the turtle had a mind of his own and carried her in a different direction. Peterson had been waiting for something like this. The truth was that he had wanted no part of the buddy system. With nobody watching, he turned on full power. The scooter had a lot more speed than George Peterson had revealed to us before. Enough speed to go after shark, or even bigger game. How much bigger and more deadly, we didn't know just then. George Peterson, a stranger in my diving group, was heading out at full speed, and he knew exactly where he was going. Meanwhile, Ella couldn't find her buddy. George Peterson was nowhere in sight. Out of sight, out of reach. Ella was looking in all directions. She couldn't understand what had happened to George. I was playing chess on the top of the plane, believing that everything was smooth down below. I knew that with the buddy system, if anything happens to one, there's the other to give a quick assist.
Oh, I gotta make my rounds.
Just because I got you in a bind?
What are you talking about? Oh, I gotta get down there. Look, you just leave everything just the way it is, huh? You haven't won this game yet. Not a long shot.
I hadn't been down long when I spotted Ella. I could see that something was wrong. She indicated that Peterson was gone. I signaled her to surface immediately to find out what had happened.
How long ago did it happen?
10 minutes anyway, maybe 20.
Did he seem to be in any trouble?
No, he was just lazing around on his sea scooter about 20 feet from me. Everything seemed to be fine.
What was he doing? Was he using his spear gun?
No, nothing. That's just it.
What about calling in the Coast Guard?
No, not yet. He's probably just giving that sea scooter of his a workout. See, he's got 3 tanks, so he's got plenty of air.
Well then, why don't we just wait around a while and give him a chance to turn up?
Still he could be in trouble. No, I'll take a chance. I'm gonna have them all resurface. That way, if we see any bubbles, we'll know they belong to him. You get Queenie and DeWitt. You'll find them in the area of that rock. I'll get Jack and Eddie.
While we were worried about him above, he was getting away from us below at an underwater speed of 12 knots per hour.
Rev up the ship and haul you around for a look.
No, you better not. He might pop up right in front of it. We'll use this raft for the search. You got a pair of binoculars?
Yeah, 2 pair.
Good. You might get up in your wing there, huh? Watch the surface. If you see any bubbles, give me a shout, huh? Well, there's one thing. That scooter of his is so slow. You won't be very far off.
Dick was scanning the horizon with his strong binoculars. There were no telltale bubbles anywhere within sight. We made a careful search pattern in the raft, spiraling outward, to the limits of what we thought was the scooter's range.
No luck. What about you?
We didn't see anything either.
Let's take the plane up, huh?
Good. Sometimes you can see down in the water much better that way.
I'm going up with Dick. The rest of you keep working from the raft, huh? Or offshore. Cover the same territory that you've been covering. Yeah, let me give you a hand here. All right, now, if you see anything, send up a flare.
Circling and circling. No luck. I could see the raft searching, too. I was hoping to see a flare shoot up to tell us they had found something, but no sign.
I never lost a diver before. I certainly don't like the feeling.
Why not widen our search pattern?
There's no swimmer could swim any further than we've been looking. That scooter of his wouldn't help any. You saw how slow it was, didn't you?
What if he got caught in a current?
Oh, not in this area.
Supposing he speared something big and started to tow him.
There's nothing to lose, I guess. Okay. Make a sweep to the end of the island, huh?
We were flying low, but there was no trace of Peterson or his bubbles anywhere below.
I don't know, but what if, do you suppose that he could somehow have gotten into there?
I was thinking the same thing. You've checked out everything else. I'm game. Do you want to check this one?
Okay, call the Navy. Ask for special permission to enter, Zone 1.
Now we were over the restricted zone, miles away from our skin diving grounds. I kept scanning the surface with binoculars. It was hard to believe that Peterson could go this far. Suddenly, I noticed something on the ocean surface.
Bubbles. Looks like bubbles.
There was no mistake. The bubbles came from an air lung. He was down below. I swam toward the spot cautiously. Then I saw him. He didn't see me. He was too busy taking pictures. At first, he looked like a harmless camera bug, until I looked beyond him and saw what he was photographing. A very secret underwater installation. A new kind of platform to launch rockets from below the surface. He changed his position to snap it from another angle. Peterson had come a long distance underwater to take pictures of a weapon that was top secret. The films in that camera of his were pure dynamite. I knew one thing. I had to take him by surprise. I grabbed his camera before he knew what hit him, and I was on my way. My only hope was to surface before he could reach his scooter. But his reflexes were fast, and he got his scooter going before I had a chance to swim very far. The camera was dragging and slowed me down more than I liked. While he had a fast scooter to propel him now, and a double-barrel spear gun. I had to zigzag to avoid being a good target. I saw a cave. If I could get inside that cave before him, it could mean my life. He saw the cave, too. He aimed and pressed the trigger. The card was strong, deflecting the spear. He missed me by a few inches. I was swimming toward the cave with all my might. He pressed the second trigger. He missed again. He was right behind me when I disappeared into the darkness of the cave. As he entered, I lunged at him from the side. He fought with surprising strength, but I knew what I was after. And choked off his air supply. He struggled desperately, but soon couldn't bear any more. Without air, the strongest man goes limp and defenseless. There was no fight left in him by the time we surfaced. He was smart enough to know that the jig was up, especially when he noticed the gun in Dick's hand.
Missing man. Also some first-class photographs of the underwater launching platform.
Espionage, huh? He give you any bad time?
Not for long. Go on, get in there. Keep your gun on him. I'm going back down.
I knew they needed the camera and its film for evidence. I went back to the cave to get the camera and the scooter. Peterson's little excursion was going to put him behind bars for many years.
Hi there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is certainly a lot of fun, and it's full of adventure. See some more of it again next week, huh? When there'll be another excursion into that fabulous underwater world of Sea Hunt.
On June 17th, ferocious Hurricane Dora struck one of the islands of the British West Indies. Ocean-going ships were crushed like toys and tossed up on razorback reefs. One ship, the SS Minerva, went to the bottom just offshore in 70 feet of water. Robert Lambert, a scuba diver hired by the company which insured the Minerva's cargo, found the ship. He was inspecting her hull when suddenly a spear flashed by him. His assailant was reloading an arbalete. Lambert didn't wait for the second spear. Was doomed by the superior strength of the murderer. His body never came to the surface. He would never tell where the Minerva lay. The killer would never tell what secret the cargo of the Minerva carried. The Carib Insurance Company had also sent for me to dive with Lambert. I didn't know that I would soon be facing the same mysterious killer. A seaplane brought me from Silver Springs to the island. Bad weather in the wake of the hurricane delayed the flight. When I finally arrived expecting to meet Lambert, I was sent instead to appear on the waterfront.
Hello, Mike Nelson?
That's right. Mr. Hanson of the Carib Insurance Company?
Yeah. I see my secretary finally get a hold of you.
At the hotel. I'm sorry that I missed Lambert this morning. I was about 6 hours late getting in. Lambert here?
No, that's why I'm down here, to identify his boat. They found it on the rocks. Empty.
That's all we have found so far.
This is Inspector Saunders, the island police. Mr. Nelson.
How do you do, Mr. Nelson?
Well, you suppose that he's trapped down there in the Minerva?
Well, we don't know.
Did he mark the spot?
We haven't found a marker.
There's only one other man who knows where the Minerva went down. He's a West Indian the natives call Lord Christobal, sort of a local celebrity.
Well, where'd I find him?
See the old Spanish fort up there?
Yeah?
He's a caretaker. Lives up there. I'm going to be tied up here for a while. You suppose you get on up there right away and get to work? You make whatever arrangements you need. I'll take care of the bills.
Okay. Lord Christobal, huh?
The fort was a massive relic, over 500 years old, filled with blind corridors and stairways that led to nowhere. If Lord Christobal was here, I didn't seem to be able to find him. And I became aware of someone singing. Calypso singing.
Dive deep in the big fish belly. Swim like the fishes if you can. Make a believe you're not just a man. Dive deep in the big fish belly. Swim like the fishes.
Shut up and listen to me.
Big fish belly.
Chris, will you stop that blowing noise and pay attention to me?
That could be Lord Christobal.
Lambert's disappearing down there. Disappearing, I say, without a trace. Like he was swallowed.
Dive deep in the big fish belly.
It was a hex.
But who was the other man?
That's right, what else?
What do you mean?
Listen, I tell you the Minerva is hexed. That's why she sank. That's why Lambert disappeared down there. Is it worth £2 a day to die like he did?
Trying to scare me out of my £2? Why don't you go put no hand on me?
All right, but you'd soon find out £2 ain't worth hexing yourself for. Who are you?
My name's Mike Nelson. You're Lord Christobal, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to talk to you for a moment, please, huh?
Just a moment, not so blooming fast. I know what you want. You're from the Carib Insurance Company. Well, this man's under personal contract to me, see, and I say he don't work for nobody else but me.
What do you say?
You want him to show you where the Minerva is, don't you?
Now, what if I do?
He's got no diving gear.
Let's go someplace else and talk, shall we?
You're hexing yourself, I tell you. Do you think this charm will save you?
Hexing yourself? What are you talking about?
He says that's why Lambert didn't come up.
That's nonsense.
Is it nonsense that he'll starve after you've gone? If you work for him, you're finished with me. If you run out of me now, you'll never work for Webley Salvage again. I need him for my work.
What are we fighting for? I'm going to be needing a boat. And you're in the salvage business. You've got everything that I want. What do you say, huh?
I'm booked solid.
20 pounds a day, and you hire Lord Christobal.
20 pounds? Well, now, that's a little bit more like it.
On the dock tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, huh?
You're on.
I show you where the Minerva went down.
I had played right into Webley's hands. I had given him a better way to keep the secret of the Minerva than he'd been able to find for himself. His salvage barge was an ideal place from which to work. I still suspected nothing next day when Chris and I started down to find the sunken ship. Webley had planted a fear of the hex in him, and he was still plagued by it. But he bravely went into the water. With Chris and me safely out of sight, Webley began preparing my death. He already had the murder weapon aboard the barge, the most innocent-looking weapon in the world, the diver's most valuable tool, the compressor, used to fill scuba tanks with life-giving air. Webley was preparing to change all that. The exhaust pipe of a gasoline-driven compressor is flexible so that it can be laid downwind from the air intake. Held directly in front of the intake, it blows deadly carbon monoxide gas through the compressor cylinders, through filters which are designed to take out solid impurities, but not to take out gas, into the diving bottle. Webley was filling this one with a sinister, deadly poison which I would not detect until it was too late. Chris and I had reached the Minerva's hull. We swam along it, making an initial inspection. The plates seemed to be in good shape. Then I saw it. Half-inch steel plates ripped open as though made of paper, ripped outward. That could mean only one thing: an explosion from inside. We would try to get into the hold from up on deck. I gave the signal for Chris to follow me. Inside the ship, a bulkhead kept us from the hold. The door leading through was sprung by the explosion. There was only one way to get into the hold. We would have to cut our way in with a torch. We started for the surface.
Find her?
Yeah. With a hole in her bottom.
Oh, went on a rock, eh?
No. An explosion on the inside. I'm going to try to get in. I'll have to cut through a bulkhead. You rig for it?
Yeah. Break out the cutting torch. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go down with you, see we do a proper job. Oh, no one can handle a torch like I can.
Webley had set his trap. He knew that sooner or later I'd call for a fresh air bottle. And he had one ready for me. 2,200 pounds per square inch of choking, lethal poison gas. The cutting torch was ready. I was about to dive to the Minerva with a man whose object was murder. My murder. The man who had already killed one diver.
Hold this one, will you? Okay, I'll take it down.
All right.
Dive deep, the big fish belly. Swim like the fishes if you can. Make believe you're not just a man. Dive deep, the big fish belly.
Webley put the torch to the first lug in the jammed door.
Dive deep, big fish belly. Swim like the fishes if you...
Go away, Black One. You got no right to put the hex on me. Take your black hex off of me. Go away.
We could go through now. But Webley warned me that my air must be nearly exhausted. He was right. He went up with me to see that I got the right bottle. The poisoned one.
Go away. Go away. Look at folks are going to die. Don't look at me. Go away. Go away. Take your black hex off of me. Go away.
What's the matter with you? Get your diving gear on. We're going down. Oh, let me give you a hand, Mr. Nelson. Fresh tank for you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Black hex enough for me. Go away. Folks are going to die.
Will you get your mind off what you're doing? Get your tank on.
Yes.
I go stow the torch, eh?
Why don't you wear my tank? It's ready to go.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
What about this one here? Did you just fill it?
Yes, sir.
Give my regulator.
Yes, sir.
Ready to go?
Yeah, we're all ready.
I'm not superstitious. I don't believe in hexes or omens or signs. But what weird coincidences forewarned Chris of what neither the murderer or the intended victim knew. That he was diving with a bottle of poisoned air. I showed Webley the hole in the hull to prove that it must have been made by an internal explosion. We left Chris outside as safety man and swam up to the hatch on deck. Carbon monoxide is odorless and tasteless. Although Chris began to feel its effect, he couldn't know why or what it was. Even with the lugs cut through, it took all our strength to open the door. Its hinges were sprung and out of line. We swam into the hold and found it empty. There was no cargo at all. The internal explosion now added up. It was the old double swindle. The cargo had been heavily insured, but it was never loaded on board. Then the ship was scuttled for the insurance. I suddenly saw it on the deck of the hold, the proof of fraud that the insurance company needed. A time fuse and detonator. I told Webley to signal Chris to join us. Chris saw Webley's signal and started to surface, planning to join us on the way up. Although he was weak and sick, he still didn't know why. Chris was waiting for us when we got clear of the Minerva. We all started up together. We didn't notice that Chris started to lag behind. He was weakening rapidly now. The carbon monoxide was doing its work.
You feeling all right?
Hey, sure, I feel all right. What?
Well, when I was on the bottom, I was feeling kind of sick. I thought maybe you felt the same.
There's Chris. Started up with us. Maybe he's in trouble.
No. The same thing might happen to you as happened to him. Something in the water, maybe.
What are you talking about?
I'm captain of this boat, and I say you're staying aboard.
Let go of me.
I say you ain't going down.
What's the matter with you? Your man's in trouble down there.
So long as I'm captain, you ain't going down. There ain't no more air lungs.
Ahoy there! Ahoy there! I got a diver in trouble at the bottom.
You got any diving gear aboard?
No!
You got any oxygen?
We got a resuscitator aboard.
Well, I need it. Hurry up!
My mask.
What's he doing? Saturating his lungs with oxygen. Men have managed to stay down 8 or 9 minutes that way.
Webley! Webley! I should like to ask you a few questions about a diver named Lambert.
Even with my lungs saturated with oxygen, I had to watch my time carefully. And I had to conserve my energy. Work uses up oxygen quickly. At the end of 3 minutes, I was beginning to feel the strain.
How long? Almost 5 minutes.
I told her not to go down.
At the end of 5 minutes, I knew that I couldn't hold out much longer. There he was. My lungs and chest were already bursting, but I had to hold on. I had to keep from opening my mouth. I had to fight down the agonizing desire to breathe. Now that I had him, could I get him up in time? With my last bit of energy, I convulsively kicked for the surface.
There he is!
The color of his lips. They're bright red.
Yeah, it's carbon monoxide poisoning. Probably from that compressor. Turns the blood bright red, shows up in the lips. That's why he didn't want me to go down after him.
I'm afraid there are some questions you'll have to answer about this too, Webley.
You're okay now, Chris. You're okay.
Yes. The black hex. The hex.
There's no hex, Chris. And there's no Webley either. Not anymore. Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is fun and adventure for young and old, but it can be dangerous. So know the sport well and don't take any chances. Be with you next week for another exciting sea hunt.